Some time ago I posted a video where I experimented making gears. This is the first gear I ever made. It's not really a gear, it's a ratchet gear for the shaper. It's not even this one, because the one I made is in the shaper and it works perfectly fine. While I was making it, there was just a little problem. My indexing system was too flexible. After that, I made another gear. This one goes on the spindle of my lathe, and this one sort of works a bit. It's just that the depth of the teeth is not enough. And here I used another indexing system, but also it was a little bit too sloppy. Now the problem is I have no idea how to make gears. I never learned it in school. We saw a little bit of theory and that's all. Now the easiest way should be to order these gears on the internet, but where's the fun? They told us how to make gears on the shaper. You start with a gear blank, a cutting tool, and the cutting tool is moving out of the blackboard this way. Yeah. On the other side of the gear was a steel cable that makes a turn like this, and if the table moves, the work spins the other way. So you start cutting air, cutting the teeth, and at the end again cutting air. And this had as a result that the teeth looked a bit like this. So what I would like to try, because this steel cable I have, but I think it's too flexible. If this is the indexing wheel on the pitch diameter, yeah, I'm gonna make a fixed point and a steel bar like this, so my part can turn left and right. This bar will hold it in place. So this side must be fixed somewhere at a part of the machine that doesn't move. I already started to build this thing, a shaft that goes in here. This fits here. The set screw goes in this hole. Gear will spin also. Now, lucky I am, I found this gear. The teeth are the same. I have the same number of teeth. This is 40. So I can use this one to register this one. My idea is to mount it here and then fix it with a key. After that, I made this slug thing here that fits on here, but I don't think I'm gonna use it because I need to mount an indexing pin on this. So this one useless. Make a new one from this, and here normally I should have more than enough room to make some sliding indexing pin. That's more or less the plan. My first job now is gonna be make a key slot in here so that this gear doesn't move anymore. I suppose you've noticed that I use the same vise for drilling the pilot hole here and for shaping the keyway, so the part is not coming out And I think that is the most precise way. That little key turned out well, no movement whatsoever, so that's good. Now I'm gonna clean up this block and then drill the 12mm hole in here to go over this threaded rod. I'm halfway this plate here, and my idea was to make some kind of finger that goes here and then clicks in the gear. But of course there is a problem. When I install the assembly on the shaper, this plate is gonna touch the dovetail of the machine. So this plan is not gonna work. That's gonna be much better. After all these sleepless nights thinking about how I am gonna resist this gear system, I was thinking of fixing something here, but this is now too short, it's not gonna work anymore. And then I was thinking make maybe something like this and clamping around, and that's way too complicated and I have to make a slot in here and that's never gonna work. But I finally figured it out. I drilled a second hole, put a screw in here with a little point. I don't know if it shows on camera, and this point takes in the gear over here. No movement whatsoever. Take the second cut. Here you go. Simple, right? With the timing problem out of the way, now I can start thinking of the fixed part. Now in this machine, originally, there are two tapped holes in here, M6. And I found this ugly piece of rust here. If I make a cutout here, I can install this and make sure that this edge is in line with my block inside here. I already drilled and tapped the hole here, little bolting. Okay, let's assemble this thing. Alright! To make the link between the fixed part and the moving part, maybe with this thing here. and with my bar here installed, you're immediately gonna get the idea. And now starts what I think is gonna be the most challenging part of this project, and that is determine the right angles for the cutting tool. Now, after a little bit googling, I found out that the cutting sides of the tool I need can be straight. The tip is cut off, and this angle should be the pressure angle. I have to determine the pressure angle 20 degrees, because I did a little bit more googling and I found out that these gears are metric spur gears module 1.5. So here it's marked that for a 30 teeth gear, the outside diameter should be 48 millimeters. After all, it's a metric one, yeah? And the pitch diameter or the module is 45. That's really handy to know if you want to make yourself, of course. And here's my cutting tool ready for action. Now I installed this piece of t-shirt here because of the glare of the light. The only thing I couldn't find out, but maybe one day I will, is the width of the tip I have to cut off. So I think this tool now is too pointy, but it's always easier to take a bit off than put on again. I stopped cutting and took it all apart again because I'm gonna try to show a little bit closer on camera. The gear, the cutting side is a little bit shifted in relationship to the already existing teeth, and we're not here to shifting gears, we're here to making or copying gears. So took it all apart and I made a brand new gear blank. So now let's start all over again. I adapted a little bit my cutting tool. I can't find any information about this radius. I know it has to be a radius. That's all. This is pure experimental. Yeah? So don't tell your mama, now you know how to do it, because I don't even know myself how to do it. Experiment. Everything is back together. I dialed in only 1 millimeter to see what happens. Normally total depth is 3.37. Let's do. good. Okay, 1 millimeter more. The original one, the new one. When you watch this one, I suppose you understand why I wanted to make a new. This one is completely worn, so put it out of the way. This one I think looks beautiful, and all the teeth are more or less equally spaced, so that can be called a success. The teeth look well made. There's just one little problem. They don't look at all as a module 1.5 teeth. This looks more than like imperial teeth. But I suppose you can see they doesn't fit very well. But it feels good when I spin them like this. It feels really good. So let's give the new one a try on the lathe. I still have to cut the keyway in here, but before I do that, first I want to give it a try. So let's hold it in place with the set screw. The noise you hear is, this one is this idler is always very noisy. I would like to take it off, but I don't know how it works. Right, here we go. That feels good. Higher speed. It's making me an oil fountain. To conclude, the system I use seems to work, but it doesn't give me the right shape of the teeth, so there's a little bit more study to do. I think it's a good system for imperial gears, but not for metric gears. Whatever. My cutting tool seemed to survive, no problem, but you could hear at the end that it was starting to get dull a little bit. Now, using this is lots of fun, but it's very time consuming. For every teeth I did 3 cuts, so 2 roughing cuts and then a finishing pass. So it took me about 2 days and liters of coffee to finish this. So I think the next time I have to make a gear, I think I'm gonna make a dedicated cutting tool and then fix the gear in place and cut in one time, not using this thing anymore. It works, but it's a bit slow, and after a while starts to have a little bit of play, and then you see that the teeth are a little bit defaced, so it's not perfect. It could work with good bushings and whatsoever things, it could work. Now if you have a shaper and some spare time, why shouldn't you give it a go? I always say, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Of course you need a shaper, but experimenting is always fun to do.